Hello, my dear, and welcome everyone. How are you all? Hope so. Everyone is fine and they have done the questions which I asked for in the last class. That were your homework questions. Yes. Were there any doubts? You can bring that up. And today I am going to explain you about a topic called fund-based accounting. That is my aim for today. And we will do some questions which are based for income and expenditure account, receipt and payment account, and preparation of balance sheet, just like we did for the final accounts. So that is the planning that we need to do it today. And this lectures from now onwards will be extended lectures which you need to go through because we need to align with the course as soon as possible. Yes, we were a bit behind, so we need to catch up. So without wasting any time, let us start with the fund-based accounting. Before teaching you anything regarding the fund-based accounting, let us understand what is the concept behind it. So, for example, I have a bank account. Let's say I have a bank account in HDFC Bank. Everybody just keep your attention to the highest level possible because I'm going to tell you about the concept because if you understood this concept everything would be easy, but if you did not understood there would be much more things to learn rather than to understand. Okay, so just to save yourself from a lot of learning, you should understand the concepts which I'm going to tell you now. So let's say if I'm starting a new business. I'm starting a new business. And for that, I went to HDFC Bank to open a new bank account. They did open my new account. And now what I have to do, sir, I have to start my business. Rather than business, I would say entity. Start my entity with funding for A, capital in form of bank deposit, rupees 5 lakhs. So they want to start this entity with a funding in the form of capital. That means they will bring their own funds, and the amount they will bring in is rupees 5 lakhs. Now, everyone who is present in this class, do with me what will be the journal entry for this transaction. Everyone, what would be the JE journal entry which you will pass for this transaction in your books of accounts? I think everybody in this class is now very much capable of finding out the journal entries. Yes, what would be the journal entry? Sir, we are depositing the amount in the bank. So whenever it comes in, bank account will be debited with 5 lakh rupees to capital account. That is 5 lakh rupees. Okay, sir. That is the basic journal entry which we will do. Now let's see how our balance sheet will look like. So on the balance sheet, I have a liability side and I have a asset side with amount. And so on the liability side, I can say that I will have a capital fund of 5 lakh rupees and I will have a bank balance of 5 lakh rupees. And in this way, my balance sheet as at today is tallied. Does anyone have a problem with this? Is this okay? Are you able to understand the point till now? Because nothing new I have told you. Any doubt? Okay. Now, if I say that I am a sports center and that sports center, or I would say sports club, wants to purchase some sports equipment. Okay. They want to purchase some sports equipment for their sports club and how they are going to purchase. So basically, they are asking their members to contribute to their fund. They're asking the members to contribute to their fund. Now, what will happen? This club, this club will go to its member and ask for fees, or let's say they're asking for a donation. Let's not talk about fees. Let's talk about donation. They've received a donation from members for purchase of sports equipment of rupees, let's say 3 lakhs. Of rupees 3 lakhs, there is a donation which we have received from the members. So, what would be the journal entry when I will receive this donation? So, it would be more or less similar to the one which I did earlier. So, it would be bank account debited with 3 lakh rupees. Sir, what will I credit? Now I will create one fund because this donation is for specific purpose, that is purchase of sports equipment. Okay, so I will create one fund, sports equipment fund account, 3 lakh rupees. That would be the journal entry for this. So let's see what will be the impact on my balance sheet. There would be now a new head that is called sports equipment fund of 3 lakhs. And now bank balance would be 5 lakhs plus 3 lakhs. That would be 8 lakhs. In the same way, your total will also become 8 lakhs. Any doubt, anyone? Is there any doubt? Okay. So now you can see in my balance sheet, I have two fund. One is the capital fund. One is the sports equipment fund. Capital fund is a type of fund from which you can do anything. You can purchase anything. That is a general fund, I would say. But this sports equipment fund is that fund from which I can just purchase the sports equipment. But does my bank know this? Does my bank know that I have two funds? Answer is no. My bank will show a credit balance in my bank account. The bank will show a credit balance of rupees 8 lakhs. The bank does not know that 5 lakhs is capital and balance 3 lakhs is sports equipment fund. The bank does not know this, but obviously I am the accountant of this entity. So I know what is the bifurcation of this 8 lakhs. So from where I can know? I can know from the balance sheet. You can see this 8 lakh is coming from 5 lakhs from the capital and 3 lakhs from the sports equipment fund. Now, if now going to the third transaction, sports equipment purchased. Rupees 2 lakhs. So what would be the journal entry for this sports equipment purchase? Let's say this sports equipment is an asset. It is not an expense, it is an asset. So what would be the journal entry for this? So debit what comes in. So I will debit the sports equipment account debited with rupees 2 lakh. And if I have made the payment, so my bank account will be credited with rupees 2 lakhs. In the narration, I will write being sports equipment purchased. Now let us see how my balance sheet will look like. So if I purchased an asset, if I purchased an asset, so my sports equipment will be shown as an asset of 2 lakhs. And if I made a payment from the bank, so my bank balance would reduce. So this would be 5 lakhs plus 3 lakhs minus 2 lakhs. That would become 6 lakhs. Now, if you look at the balance sheet, if you look at the balance sheet right now, and if you look at the bank account, how much money is left in the bank account? Sir, 6 lakh is left. Now, if I ask how much is for the capital fund and how much is for the sports fund, you will not be able to tell unless and until you will pass one journal entry extra, because the total of your capital fund is 5 lakhs here. Total of your sports equipment fund is 3 lakhs here. But in actual, out of this 3 lakhs, out of these 3 lakhs, you have actually purchased some sports equipment of rupees 2 lakh. Now, how much balance should be left in the sports equipment fund? So 3 lakh was the opening balance, let's say, and I have purchased the sports equipment of 2 lakhs. So the balance in the fund should be 1 lakh only. It should be the 1 lakh only. It should be the closing balance of your sports equipment fund. But right now in my balance sheet, it is showing to be 3 lakh. Sir, what can I do to correct it? You need to pass one more journal entry. So whenever you purchase anything which is relating to a specific fund, that amount you need to take out from the fund also. And for taking out the amount from the fund, what you need to do? You will need to debit the sport equipment fund account by the same amount. You will debit that amount and you will transfer it to the capital fund account. Sir, why we are transferring to the capital fund account? Because now this amount is available for the general use, not for the specific use being fund balance transferred to capital due to usage in purchase of sports equipment. Because we have already spent on the sports equipment, now the sports equipment fund should be reduced. So what I will do over here, just check it out. So you had earlier a balance of 3 lakhs in the sports equipment fund and 5 lakh in the capital. So I will write it down. 5 lakh is the capital and 3 lakh was your sports equipment fund. But now you have purchased the sports equipment assets of rupees 2 lakhs. So your sports equipment balance will be reduced by 2 lakhs. Now the new sports equipment balance fund sorry, sports equipment fund balance would be 1 lakh and it will be transferred to the capital because you have used this fund. Okay, so in this way, my accounting treatment would be complete. So whatever any specific fund is used, whatever any specific fund is used, we need to transfer that balance to the capital fund account so that it gives a clear picture that now only 1 lakh rupees is left in the sports equipment fund, which I further need to spend on the sports equipment. Okay, now if I again do one more transaction, let's say the transaction says this was the C transaction. Let's do the D transaction. Sports equipment further purchased of rupees 80,000 for sports equipment further purchased of rupees 80,000. So the journal entry would be sports equipment, which is your asset account debit 80,000 to bank account. That is the first journal entry you will do. And as this is for the specific fund, so you need to debit that fund account also. Sports equipment fund account debited because the money will be paid out of this fund and it will be transferred to the capital fund account. That is 80,000. So in your balance sheet, now you will see that your now sports equipment would be 2 lakhs plus 80,000. This will become 2,80,000. Your bank account, as you have paid 80,000, so further 80,000 will be deducted from here. So this would be 5,20,000 over here. Okay. On the credit side of your balance sheet, now right now the remaining balance was 1 lakh here and 7 lakh here. I'm just rubbing the previous figures from the inner column and writing the new figures in the inner column. So currently my capital is standing at 7 lakhs. Sports equipment is at 1 lakhs. Now I have purchased again sports equipment of 80,000. So from the sports equipment fund account, 80,000 will be deducted. Now my fund is left of only 20,000 and this will be added into the capital fund account. It would be 7 lakh 80,000 and this way my full balance sheet will be tallied. This is the clear picture. This is the exact picture of the fund-based accounting, what we are discussing right now. So based on this explanation, which I have given you just now, you need to solve one question. Just go to the page number 282. You will find this question, illustration number 26, that you have to do right now. Just try this question. Come on, everyone. You have 10 minutes to solve this. Okay, just do it fast. Done, everyone? I want your comments so that I can proceed ahead, my dear. So this was a very, very simple question which is given for a club. The club has received some of the donation, and based on that donation, we need to transfer the funds from building account to the capital account. So let's have a quick look what is given over here, and I will move ahead accordingly. Ujjwal Vevisha, or I would say Bhavisha Club has holding a building of rupees valued 10 lakh as on 31st of March 2019. The building fund stands at 8 lakhs. Still, we have how much? 8 lakhs in the building fund. And the bank has 15 lakhs on 1st of April 2019. Okay. During the year 1920, donation received for that building was 20 lakhs. So the opening fund has 8 lakh rupees. Then we have received any additional donation of 20 lakhs. This is the donation which I have received. Give the journal entries and the effect on the balance sheet of 31st of March 2020. Okay, sir. Let us see. They have given two cases. If the purchases building is of 15 lakhs, so right now I have a total fund balance of 28 lakhs. This is the building fund account. Now, out of this building fund account, there can be two cases. First case, if I make a purchase of 15 lakhs, and second case, if I make a purchase of 30 lakhs. So in the second case, my building fund account is lower and my expense is higher. What I will do in that case? So obviously you will transfer only up to the amount of your building fund. Rest 2 lakh, you can assume that this is from the general fund, that is your capital fund. Okay, just see the entry. First entry, the if the donation has been received of 20 lakhs, so bank account debit to donation for building fund account 20 lakhs. That is the done. Then if in the first case, if you purchase the building of 15 lakhs, so building account debit 15 lakhs to bank account 15 lakhs, and in the same way you will debit your building fund account by 15 lakhs and credit your capital fund account by 15 lakhs. So that is the scenario number one. Let's go to the second scenario. This is the second scenario. So here you can see the bank account has been debited with 20 lakhs. Donation for buildings is again 20. But building is purchased for 30 lakhs. Bank account will be credited with 30 lakhs. However, my building fund account only had a balance of 28 lakhs. So that is why I will debit only 28 lakhs and transfer it to what? My dear capital fund account 28 lakhs. And based on this, I will prepare my balance sheet. So my building was of 10 lakhs earlier. Now we have purchased a new building of 30 lakhs. So total of building has become 40. My bank account was standing at 50. We have received some donation of 20 lakhs. So total was 35, out of which we purchased the building of 30 lakhs. So the balance here is 5 lakhs. Capital fund, it was, we don't know, not know what was the balance, but it will be 28 lakhs would be added from the building, and the balance building fund, sorry, here the building fund was of 8 lakhs in the opening, 20 was additionally which was received, the donation. So total was 28. And then we deducted 28 from here and added to the capital fund account. So that is how we have presented. This is an extract of balance sheet, not a full balance sheet, because it does not have any other information. So that is why they have not done the total over here. Okay, this is not the full balance sheet. That is the reason they have not done the total. But we should know what is the treatment which we are going to do, which we have already done in our balance sheet, which was shown over here. I think now the concepts are clear. Everyone, any doubt? So now, my dear, it is the time for us to go to the bigger questions which we can do. But before that, I would like you to give you 5 minutes and also solve illustration number 28, which is based on the concept which we covered in the last class about the subscription. Okay, so we have a sports club from Odisha which had received 2019-2020 rupees 2000 towards the subscription. Okay, subscription for 1890s was unpaid on 1st of April 2019 was rupees 200. Subscription paid in advance for on 31st of March 2019 were rupees 50 and the same was 31st of March 2020 was 40. Subscription for 1920 unpaid on 31st of March 2020 were 90 rupees. Show the subscription that will appear in the income and expenditure account. So if you remember, I have given you one table in the last class. This was the statement method. Okay, you have to apply the same figures over here and you have to find the answer for illustration number 28. So you have 5 minutes, which starts now. Just quickly do the question. Done, everyone? Perfect. So that was an easy one again. Only you need to apply your concepts. But for now, I will walk you through this question. So, Sports Club have received how much? 2000. They have received 2000. So, let us start by putting out the figures. I will rub the earlier one. So, they have received over here 2000 rupees in 2019-20. Okay, this much amount has been received in the name of subscription. Subscription for 1819 unpaid on 1st of April 2019 was rupees 200. So this is the opening arrears. Opening arrears were 200. So we need to deduct the opening arrears because that was not the income of the current year but of the previous year. Subscription paid in advance on 31st of March 2019. So that means it is opening advance of 50. So opening advance is not the income of previous year, but income of the current year. So I have added that. And the same on 31st of March was 40. So closing advance was 40. Closing advance was 40. So this is not of the current year. We have deducted that. Subscription from 1920 unpaid on 31st of March 2020 was 90. This is current year arrears of 90. So that is the income of current year but not received. So I have put all the figures. Let's do the total. 2000 plus 50 minus 40 minus 200 plus 90. What is the answer coming to be? Everyone. Is it 1900? So that is the amount which needs to be credited to your income and expenditure account. So that is the reconciliation which they have also given it over here. Okay. Is it clear? So that was the concept from the last class. We have today covered the concept of the capital fund and other funds account. Now we are ready to solve a bigger questions which will be useful for our practice. So you have illustration number 32. I have covered every concept. Let's read out the question and let's do it out together. The following summary from the cash book has been prepared by the treasurer of a club. What is the summary? So this is nothing but your receipt and payment account. They have given receipts, they have given payments. To balance brought down, that is your opening balance of the fund. You have subscription received, entrance fees received, restaurants receipts, games and competition received, due to secretary for petty expenses, 18 rupees. And then you have paid some wages, restaurant purchases, rent for 18 months. So this is paid for the 18 months. So we need to make a prepaid if required. Okay. What is our year end that we need to check and accordingly. So our year end at the bottom, it is given at 31st of March 2020. So extra rent is paid for how many months? April, May, June and July. 4 month rent is prepaid. That we need to make that adjustment later on. Then we have rate, secretary salary, lighting, competition prices, printing and postage placed in fixed deposit. So this is your asset and the closing balance of your receipt and payment account. Then you have given some adjustments. On 1st of April 2019, the club assets were. So this is the opening balance sheet. These are the figures of your opening balance sheet which they have given. We have furniture, we have restaurant stock, we have stock of prices, and 5,200 was owing to the for suppliers of the restaurant. Then the closing information which they have given. On 31st of March 2020, the restaurant stock were 3,000, price in hand was 500, while the club owed 5,600 to the restaurant supplies. It was also found that subscription unpaid for the 31st of March 2020 amounted to 1,000. This is the closing arrears which they have given, and that figure of 29,720 in the cash book. So they are talking about this figure. Included 700 is in respect of the previous year and 400 in respect of the advance in for the following year. So we know how to make the adjustment for these. What we need to prepare? We have to prepare the profit and loss. No, we cannot say profit and loss. We can say income and expenditure account for the restaurant and okay. They're asking for profit and loss account also and a general income and expenditure account for the year ended 31st of March 2020. So, how to start this type of question? Obviously, you need to understand what type of business they are doing. So, this is a restaurant business. This is a restaurant business. So, they have some stock of your restaurant assets. You have restaurant purchases, you have restaurant stock in the opening, you have restaurant stock in the closing. So for that you can prepare a small trading account which shows the opening stock, the receipts, the closing stock, the purchases, and if there are outstanding, etc. And then you can calculate the gross profit which is coming from your restaurant trading account. We also have our balance sheet. We have our income and expenditure account, and we have the closing balance sheet. This was the opening balance sheet. So do we need to prepare the opening balance sheet also? Yes, to find out the balancing figure of the accumulated fund. Okay, so that is all. Let's start with the question right over. Let's start with the question. All things we need to prepare it simultaneously. So let's prepare. First of all, let's prepare the balance sheet as at 31st March 2019. So this is nothing but your opening balance sheet. Okay. So you have your liabilities, you have your amount, you have your assets and your amount over here. The same format I will need for 2020 as well. So this is the balance sheet, the closing one. As at 31st March 2020. Okay. Then we need our trading account for the year ended 31st of March 2020, where you will have particulars, amount, and then particulars, amount. Then ahead we have income and expenditure account for the year ended 31st March 2020. This will be your a little bit bigger account because many transactions will be here. Okay, let us do this question right from the start. This is what illustration number 32. Everyone, eyes on your question, and then we can start with this one. Are you ready, everyone? Yes or no? Okay, perfect. First thing first, you have a summary of the cash book, but let's start with the opening balance sheet. That is the first thing. On 1st of April 2019, club assets were furniture of 48,000. So let's go to the balance sheet and let's write down all the assets one by one. Why we are doing this? Because we need to get the sum balancing figure. Okay, I need to check that my opening balance sheet is matching or not matching. If my opening balance sheet does not match, there is a problem, my dear. Never ever start your accounting in your real life also. Do not start your accounting unless and until your balance sheet opening figures are matching with each other. Because if it is not matching, there is a big problem. There's a big problem which you cannot sort out later on. That needs to be sorted out as and when you are doing the final accounts. Okay. So for that opening balance sheet, what we need to do? We need to write down the figures which are given in this question right over here in the opening balance sheet, as well as I also need to do some takeover from the other information which is given in the question. For example, above there is a balance brought down mentioned of the receipt and payment account. So that is nothing but your cash book balance. Okay. So that also needs to be considered while covering this one. So without wasting any further time, let us start with the illustration number 32 it was? Yes, 32. And solve this question. So first figure they have given, we have a furniture of 48,000. So I will write down here furniture of 48,000. Okay. Then we have second furniture is done. I will just rub the other information because that might create a confusion right now. So we have done furniture 48,000, restaurant stock 2,600, restaurant stock 2,600. And for this, I want a trading account also. So in my trading account, two opening stock of your restaurant, that is 2,600. That's what I have mentioned right now. Then we have stock of prices of rupees 800. So here prices stock of 800. Okay. Then we have 5,200 owing to suppliers of the restaurant. Okay, so we have creditor for restaurant that we need to pay. How much? 5,200. 5,200 is from them. We also have a further information about the cash and bank balance from our receipt and payment account. Yes, where is our receipt and payment account? So here we have, let's rub it again. Here we have balance brought down of 4,740 rupees. So cash and bank I have of 4,740 rupees. And there was a little bit information about the outstanding also. There were information about the outstanding also. Let's start reading out that information. So they have given, there were some this information is regarding your closing balances. So right now, let's ignore this. Let's read out the next paragraph from here. It was found that subscription unpaid on 31st of March 2020 amounted to rupees 1,000, and the figure of 29,720 shown in the cash book includes 700 in respect of previous year and 400 paid in advance for the following year. Okay, that is again something which is relating to the closing one. So let's consider this later on. But can we calculate some information from this? Yes or no? What I have been given here, we have a subscription of 29,720. So let's prepare our working note number one. Subscription account. So if you have amount, let's do it in the statement format. Received as per receipt and payment account. How much amount was received as per receipt and payment account? It was 29,720. It was received as per the receipt and payment account. Okay, sir. Then we have subscription unpaid on 31st of March 2020. That is the closing time, amounted to 1,000. So I have closing arrears that I need to add of 1,000, and that figure of 29,720 shown is including 700 in respect of previous year. Okay, so they are saying this 29,720 includes some of the subscription of 700, which was not with respect to the current year, but was in respect of the previous year. So I would say this is the figure of opening arrears which they have given. Opening arrears was rupees 700. So I need to deduct it from this. Okay. And 400 paid in advance for the following year. So 400 was paid in advance for the following year. That does not represents current year income. So I will deduct that. This is called closing advance. So what is the net commission income amount to be considered in income and expenditure account? So what would be that amount? 29,720 plus 1,000 minus 1,100. That is 700 and 400. This would be 29,620. That would be the amount. Okay. Is everyone with me? Are you able to understand this concept which I have just discussed? Yes or no? Okay, moving on. So from this, you can see you have one information about the opening arrears of subscription, that is 700. This you can use in your opening balance sheet. On the balance sheet, this is an arrear. So arrears of subscription, this will be received in the current year. So I will add 700 over here. Okay. All the things on my asset side is complete. On the liability side, I have 5,200 which I am owing to the creditors for restaurant. And there is one more information which was given on the rent. See, this rent is for 18 months up to 30th of July 2020. So this is paid in the current year. This is paid in the current year. That means there would be some opening outstanding rent also. For example, let's create a timeline. This is your working note number 2. Let's go to the working note number 2. Currently, I am in what year, sir? I am at 1st of April 2019 and my closing is 31st of March 2020. This is my current timeline. What they have done, sir, they have paid 18-month rent up to 30th of July 2020. So let's say this date is 30th of July 2020. Till this date, the rent is paid in this year. So how much months is the prepaid? How much months is the prepaid? So it is after March, there is April, May, June, and July itself. So we have 4 months prepaid. We have 4 months prepaid. This whole 1 year was of 12 months, starting with 1st of April and ending with 31st of March. So, and rent is paid for how many months? For 18 months. So how many months are left? 16 months are gone. Sir, how you calculated 16? 12 from the current year period, 4 from the next year period. So balance 2 month rent was outstanding in opening, which is not paid. This relates to your, let's say, 1st of February 2019. It is 2 months over here. So this is February month and March month rent, which is not paid. So, sir, do we need to create an outstanding for that? Yes, beta. Outstanding will be created. So the total rent which is paid for all months is 7,500. If I divide 7,500 by 18 month, what is the per month rent I am getting? Please check it. Is it 625 rupees? Everyone? I think there is one misprint in your question. Just correct it. This is not up to July. This is up to June. Okay. This is up to June, not July. So here you will not have the prepaid up till full July, but you will have it up till June month. Because they have mentioned the date 30th. This would be 30th of June 2020. So we have not 4 months over here, but we will have 3 months here, 12 months here, and then here also we will have 3 months starting with January, February, and March. Okay, so 7,000 is paid for how much? 18 months. So if I divide 7,500 by 18, this would come to be 416.67 rupees per month. And if I multiply it by 3, because there was 3 months rent outstanding, it will come 1,250 rupees. So this was outstanding rent from January 2019 to March 19. This was the liability which we have paid in the next year. And here we have also a prepaid, which will also be of 2 months, 3 months of 1250 rupees. That would be from January, sorry, not January, but April 2020 to June 2020. That would be your prepaid. That would be form part of your closing balance sheet. So if I go to your closing balance sheet, here would be prepaid rent of 1250, and here we will have on the opening balance sheet of outstanding rent of 1250. Okay, and in your income and expenditure account, your rent expense would only be of 12 months. So it is 416.67 into 12. So that would come to 5,000 rupees. Okay. I hope you are okay with this calculation. So I have done the calculation for the opening balance sheet. Now, only thing which is remaining is do the total of your opening balance sheet. Let's do the total over here. So on the credit side, or I could say the asset side here, you have 48,000 plus 2,600 plus 800 plus 4,740 plus 700. So the total is coming to be 56,840. Beta, your answer should be very, very fast. You are answering very, very slow. And then we have creditors for rent of 5,200 and we have 1250 of the outstanding rent. So here also the total would be 56,840 and the remaining 50,390, which is the balancing figure which we have got right now. Sir, what is this? This is the capital fund which we can say. But I do not know that this is a capital or not. So just to not name it as capital, what I will name it, sir, it will be called accumulated fund. This will be called accumulated fund. Okay. So that is the figure which we have found out from the balance sheet of 2019. This was not given in the question. We have figured this out. Okay. Now, every question, just like the final account, this question is as simple as that. You need to do every postings based on your receipt and payment account, which is your cash book. Let's start doing it. So we have subscription of 29,720. We have done the working for subscription. How much subscription we need to consider? It is 29,620 because the rest will go to the respective balance sheet items. Okay, so here in my income and expenditure by subscription account, that is working note number 2, it would be 29,620. Okay, and as per your working note number 2, what you will do? You will also enter the closing arrears in the asset of rupees 1,000 and closing advance in your liability of 400. So let's do it in the balance sheet then and there itself. So we will have subscription in arrears of 1000 and subscription in advance of 700. Okay, this we have done from the not 700, it was 400. My bad. So this would be subscription of 400. Okay, then next part. We have entrance fees of 3,200 rupees. So is there any other adjustment given for the entrance fees? Yes or no? Is there any other adjustment for the entrance fees? 3,200. So whenever you will have such entrance fees, okay, you have the entrance fees. This is part of your income and expenditure account. You can write it on the credit side of your income and expenditure account. See, everything which is on the receipt will go to the cross. It will go to the credit side of your income and expenditure account, and whatever is on your debit side will go to the debit side of the income and expenditure. Whatever is on the credit side, because all the payment might be your expenses, it will go to your debit side in income and expenditure. Whatever is in the debit side in the cash book, it will go to the credit side. Just the cross entries, you remember that. Okay. So entrance fees is mentioned as 3,200. So I will write here in my income and expenditure account by entrance fees 3,200. Then we have restaurant receipts of 56,800, and for restaurant receipts we are maintaining the trading account. So trading account by restaurant receipts 56,800. Okay. Then we have games and competition receipts, that is 13,640. So in my income and expenditure account by games and competition, that is 13,640. That is again the income of my club. Okay. Moving on, we have due to secretary for petty expenses. So this is an advance which is given to the secretary for the petty expenses. This can be said to be an asset for you. Okay. So in your closing balance sheet, you can write it as petty expenses rupees 80. Okay. Or I would say not just the petty expenses, advance for petty expenses. Advance for petty expenses of rupees 80. That is a very minor amount. Then moving on, we have wages paid to the outdoor staff 13,380. So in your income and expenditure account, to wages 13,380. But have they given that this is a restaurant staff? If yes, then it needs to go to your trading account of your restaurant. Okay. But nothing information is given about that. So let's assume that this is relating to the normal wages to the staff. Then we have restaurant purchases of 50,400. So this will go to your trading account. to purchases of 50,400. I am writing it into the inner column so that we can adjust some of the things which are given in the footnotes. Okay. Then we have, this is the amount which we have paid right now. There is some outstanding also which was given here. So what is the outstanding amount which is not paid in the closing balance sheet? It is given we are owing 5,600 for the suppliers in the closing, and in the opening I was owing 5,200. So obviously the closing outstanding will be added, that is 5,600, and the opening outstanding will be deducted, that is 5,200, because this does not belong to the current year purchases. So net purchases would come to be 50,800. Okay. And then we also had the closing stock of how much? Restaurant stock was 3,000, which is given over here. Okay. So by closing stock of 3,000. So let's close our trading account. Here the total would be 56,800 plus 3,000 would be 59,800. And here also the total should be 59,800. So the balancing figure would be my income from restaurant, which will be transferred to income and expenditure account. So what is that balancing figure, my dear? This is 6,400. Okay. 6,400 will be credited by income from restaurant business. Okay. Then we have other information. Restaurant purchase is done. Let us update the balance sheet as well, because side by side we need to update balance sheet also. So closing stock of restaurant, that was 3,000, which is given. Okay. And then they have also given us the creditor for restaurant at the year end, that was 5,600. Okay. One student is saying that secretary expenses outstanding, so it is on the liability side. Yes, beta, that is outstanding, so that will come on the liability side. Outstanding secretary expenses of 80. Okay, or I would say outstanding petty expenses. Okay, so that won't come over here then. Was there outstanding word mentioned? Let me check once. So this is not an advance, that will not come as an asset. Yes, it is due. Okay, okay, that's fine. But on the wrong side, they have mentioned in the receipt and payment code, they should come on the credit side, because this is the receipt side. So that might be the case that the secretary has given extra money and that is received. That is why it is mentioned over here. Okay. So that is why we have mentioned it on the credit side, on the liability side. Okay, moving on. Subscription is done, entrances with restaurant receipt is done, games and competition is done, wages is done, restaurant purchases is done, rent. Rent we have already written, the adjustment also, and we have also written the uh, prepaid rent, 1250. So that is also done. Then we have rates of 2,700. So I will write two rates, 2,700. Then we have secretary salary of 3,120. Okay. So that is what we have paid to the secretary. Through secretary salary. Okay, it was 3120. Then we have lighting charges of 7,200. So to lighting 7,200. Then we have competition prices of 4,000, and we have some stock also of competition prices. Okay, so two competition prices, it was of 4,000, and there was some stock also which was given. So you see your stock of prices in the opening was 800. So I will add opening stock of 800, and what is left right now? The closing stock of prices is 500. So can I say the remaining amount 4,800 minus 500, 4,300 prices is distributed. 3,000, 4,300 prices is distributed. Sir, how you calculated that? So you have opening prices, you have a opening prices stock of 800. Then you purchased more prices of 4,000, and now you are left with only and only 500 rupees stock of prices. That is your closing stock of prices. So obviously you have expensed off the balancing figure. So I would say 400 plus, sorry, 800 plus 4,000 plus X is equals to 500. Just do the mathematics. You will get to know that X is equals to 4,300. Okay, that you need to expense off in the current year that we have done. So opening stock is added, closing stock is subtracted. Whenever you have such stocks, you need to consider this. And in the balance sheet also, you need to write closing stock of prices, that is rupees 500. That is left right now. Okay, moving on. Then we have printing and posting expenses of how much? 6,000. So in your income and expenditure, to printing and posting 6,000. Then we have placed in a fixed deposit. So fixed deposit is not an expense, it is an asset. It will not go to the income and expenditure account, but it will go to the balance sheet. So I have made a fixed deposit of 8,000. Then we have the closing balance of 5,880. So that will again go to your balance sheet, the closing amount of current year. Okay. So you have cash and bank account 5,880. Now just check that every item is incorporated from the opening balance sheet. So we had our furniture of 48,000. So here I will also write the furniture 48,000. Is there any adjustment given for the furniture? Now see, on the closing, you have restaurant stock of 3,000, which we have considered in the accounts. And here also I have write in the balance sheet 3,000. This is done. Then we have prices in hand of 500, that is also mentioned. 5,600, which is owing to the restaurant supplies, that is also done. Subscription adjustment is also done over here. And they have last given after writing off 10% of the furniture. That means there is a depreciation on furniture of 10%. So for that, I need to deduct that amount from my furniture account less depreciation 10%, that would be 4,800. It will be deducted from my furniture account. So my balance of furniture would be 43,200, and this expense will go to my income and expenditure account to depreciation on furniture. That would be 4,000. How much it was? 800. That would be the depreciation which we need to consider for the furniture account. Okay. Now let's again review our opening balance sheet. So we have taken the furniture, restaurant stock is considered, prices stock is considered, cash and balance is considered, subscriptions are considered. Here we had the accumulated fund of 50,390. Here also I will write the accumulated fund of 50,390. There would be some adjustments to it. Okay. Then we have creditor, that is considered. The outstanding rent is also considered. So everything is now reflecting over here. Okay. Only the prepaid rent, yeah, prepaid rent is also here. Yeah, okay. I think everything is fine. Now let us close our income and expenditure account. So if you total your income and expenditure account, so on the credit side you have 29,620. Then you have entrance fees of 3,200. You have games and competition of 13,640, and gross profit from restaurant business is 6,400. Let's do the total. So it would be 52,860. And here you on the debit side, you have all the expenses which are considered. So it would be 13,380 for the wages. Rent is your 5,000. Okay. Moving on to your rates, 2,700. Then you have secretary salary 3,120, lighting 7,200. Then competition prices of 4,300. Then 6,000 for the printing and posting, 4,800 for the depreciation on the furniture. So the total here is 46,500 at present, and the total should be 52,860. So I have got a surplus over here, which is the balancing figure, and it is 52,860 minus 46,500. That would be 6,360, which is your balancing figure. Okay. Now this surplus will go to your balance sheet. This will be added to the accumulated fund. So you have accumulated fund on your balance sheet credit side. That would be 6,360. So you have new balance of 5390 plus 6,360. That is 56,750 over here. Let's do the total of both the sides. So here you will have a total on the balance sheet of 56,750 plus 80 plus 5,600 plus 400. Okay, so the total is 62,830. And on the credit side, let's check the total. 1,000 plus 3,000 plus 1,250 plus 500 plus 8,000 plus 5,880 plus 43,200. So it is again 62,830. That completes my 100% of the question which I have just discussed. That is the whole working. So obviously you do not need to know the whole question, but you need to know the adjustments which we have come across to arrive at these figures and the stuff which we are doing. This is the full-fledged question. If I say, to be honest, if this question was in exam, So not less than 16 marks would be allocated for this. 16 marks of full-fledged question. But everybody know your paper is MCQ, so we do not need to know the full-fledged question. That is not in our course, but obviously for your real life, that is important. So just you need to practice the MCQs. You need to apply the concepts which we have learned, and you are through for your examination purpose. For the real life purposes, I have done those questions with you in front of you in the class itself, right? So you can understand that by solving some of more questions by yourself, which are present in your book. Let's say in homework, I will give you some question out of this. Try to solve illustration number 33, where you have been given a receipt and payment account in the form of a statement. That is the same thing which you have given. And you have some information from which you need to prepare the receipt and payment account also. You need to prepare the income and expenditure account also. And you need to prepare the balance sheet as well for the opening and the closing. I think these are two balance sheet, 1st of January and 31st of December. Yes, the opening balance sheet and the closing balance sheet. So 33, and try to solve the 34 also. You need here you need to prepare the income and expenditure and the balance sheet for this. So you have income and expenditure, the balance sheet. 33, 34 is your homework for this part. Okay, there would be no new concepts which you will come across, but the old ones which we have already discussed till now. There are many questions which you can go through. So you have the type of the preparation of opening and closing balance sheet from the given receipt and payment account. This we have already done. They have given the theoretical steps for that. You can have a look. That is the very simple thing. Okay, which we have already come across. And now, if you want to prepare the reverse order, you need to prepare the receipt and payment account from a given of income and expenditure account and a balance sheet. So this is a reverse type of question, which you can try. Illustration number 42. Okay, just do it together. Let's do it together right now. We have the time. So we have a balance sheet as it 31st of December 2020, we have an outstanding salary of 700. We have a prepaid insurance of 500. We have outstanding subscription of 2000. We have income and expenditure account where we have received, we have an income of subscription of 12,000. So just see, 12,000 is the income. However, outstanding is 2000. So how much we have actually received? So that would be 12,000 minus 2000. That would be 20. Sorry, not 20. 10,000. 10,000 is the receipt of subscription. Okay. Now you can see the salary expense is 6,000, out of which 700 is outstanding. That means we have paid 5,300. So this is your payment. Okay, this you have calculated the payment. You can also see one more thing in your balance sheet, that is insurance of 500 is prepaid, and here the expense is 3,000. So extra what you have paid? You have paid 500 extra. So total payment you have made of 3,500. That will be shown as a payment. Okay. Then you can see you have given some adjustment also. Salary outstanding for the year 2020. Okay. There is extra information given, that is the salary outstanding amounted to rupees 1,000 in 2020. I think again there is a misprint. This balance sheet should not be of 2020. This should be of 31st of December 2019. This should be the opening balance sheet, and accordingly adjustments will be done. Let us just check one of the answer and then we can figure it out what is incorrect. See, 6,000 is the starting point for what? For the salary that is paid as per the receipt and payment account. Outstanding for 2020 is taken from here. So again, yes, I was right. This is the opening balance sheet. The date here is incorrect. Please correct the date. This date is not 2020. This date is 2019. This is the opening balance sheet. So whatever we have discussed till now, that is not correct right now. Let us redo this question. The balance sheet, this is of 2029. Okay. So now let's calculate the salary as per receipt and payment account. So as per receipt, no, not as per the receipt and payment account, but as per the income and expenditure account. What salary is given over here? Sir, 6,000 that belongs to the year 2020. But obviously, there was some outstanding from the previous year that might also be paid in the current year. So plus opening outstanding, and I will deduct the closing outstanding because that has not been paid in the current year. So salary outstanding during the year 2020 is 1,000. This is not paid in the current year. So 6,000 plus 700 minus 1,000 will give me 5,700, which is payment made for salary. So you can see the calculation in your receipt and payment account. Payment for salary, that is 5,700, which is done. Okay. Then you have insurance prepaid amount of 800. So earlier you had a total insurance expense. So expense is 3,000. You have a prepaid of 500, which was paid in the earlier year. So I will deduct the opening prepaid of 500 and I will add the closing prepaid. Sir, why you have deducted? Because this amount was already paid in the previous year. So we do not need to pay it again. I'm calculating what? I'm calculating the receipt and payment account, what payment is being made. And the closing prepaid is 800. So I will add that. So it would be 3,300, which is payment made for expenses of insurance. Payment for insurance. So if I want to establish a rule, you can say when you are talking about expenses as per income and expenditure account, and you want to find out, you have to find out payment as per receipt and payment account, what you need to do, you have to add the opening outstanding expenses, you have to deduct the closing outstanding expenses. Then for the prepaid, you need to deduct the opening prepaid expenses and you have to add the closing prepaid expenses. So that is the formula which you can apply to arrive at this figure. But if you understand the logic, you don't need the formula. But if you need the formula, here is the one for you. And if you have to go from income as per income and expenditure account to the receipt as per receipt and payment account. So what you need to do? So if you have an income as per the income and expenditure account, so you will have opening arrears. Opening arrears won't be included in your current year income. So you can add the opening year arrears and you can subtract the closing arrears. If you have any advance which has been received in the earlier year, so you can deduct the opening advance and you can add the closing advance because that advance you have received in the current year. So that is the adjustment you can do for the income side. So let's, by this statement method, let's try the income. So here you have the income of what? Income of, you have subscription. You have subscription income of 12,000. So let us write the income as per income and expenditure account is 12,000. Then what information else is given in the question? They have given a outstanding subscription. So this is subscription in arrear of 2000. This is opening outstanding. So opening outstanding should be added. This is plus 2000. Then they have also given subscription outstanding for the 2020 is 3000. That is your closing outstanding, closing arrears, 3000. That needs to be deducted. Anything else? No, sir, nothing else. Just do the total. You will get the receipt as per the income and receipt and payment account. So this would be 9,000. Sorry, not 9,000, but 11,000. 12,000 plus 2, that would be 14, minus 3 is 11,000. And that is what it is coming here. Receipt for subscription. That is what they asked you to calculate. So this type of 1 mark question can be asked. For that, you need to learn this statement or formula, I would say. Or if you don't want to learn this formula, you have a simpler way of what? Of solving these questions by yourself as per the concept which I have told you. Okay. So that is all for your chapter of final accounts, preparation of your final accounts. Right now, what you can do, I'm giving you 10 minutes. Just read out this information which I have asked you for the theoretical questions. You have 10 minutes, just read it out. I will scroll it down. So I think you have read that part. just read the remaining part. And if you have any doubt, please message me right now. Okay. Let me know better once done. Okay, guys. So that was exactly the same thing which we did for our calculations on the first full-fledged questions, right? That was exactly what I meant to explain you. But first, I wanted to tell you that we can do by the same way we did the final accounts. Only thing is the preparation of the opening balance sheet, calculating of the balancing figure, that is your opening balance from your opening balance sheet, and then you can do the same thing ahead. If you have practiced some of the question of the final accounts, same was this case in your final accounts as well, the A part and the B part. Okay. Then we have one more question, illustration number 40. I want also you guys to try this question. If there are any doubts, we will take this question. You have given an income and expenditure account for the year ended of 31st of March 2020, where you have all the expenses and the surplus. You have all the incomes. You have also given the receipt and payment account, balance brought down, the admission fees, etc. Everything. What you need to do? On 1st of January 2020, club had the following asset. This is the information for your opening balance sheet. Okay, so this is the opening balance sheet of 31st of December 2019 that you need to prepare, asset side and liability side. From this information, you will get some information from your balance sheet also, and receipt and payments, as well as your income and expenditure account as well. Okay. On the basis of that, you have to prepare the opening balance sheet. This is a little bit tricky question that I want you to try, but it is similar to what we have already done. And then you need to prepare the balance sheet for the 31st of December 2020. That is also very, very simple, which you can try by your own. But I would say solve this the way which we are doing, not the theoretical way. So if you are able to do this question, everything is clear. Otherwise, we can do one more question in the class, that is illustration number 40, and then you can try illustration number 41 in the homework of the next session. Right now, I can say that from my end, this chapter is completed, and we are now ready to start a very, very interesting chapter that is called cash and fund flow statements. But before starting this, I want you to thoroughly do some questions on the accounting for non-trading concerns and some of your final accounts. All the doubts, queries are welcomed. Okay, so thank you all. See you in the next class with the new chapter. And if there are any doubts with the new concepts and a lot of excitement ahead, we are on the second last chapter of our course, and we will we will be able to go through everything in very short period of time. Okay. So all the very best. Do your practice, do your hard work, as well as solve many, many MCQs as much as you can to go through every type of possibility which can be asked. If you want, you can visit the website. You will have the access to the past examination questions. You will have some extra study materials which you can refer to. Okay. So all the best, everyone. Bye bye. See you in the next class.